All right, so we're back here at Wuwa. This video is kind of like what's the word? It's kind of like an account overview. The last one I did was I don't even remember when. But the point is, I've been playing this game since March-ish last year. We're in the new 20, we're in 2026 now. So, but yeah, I'm here. I started playing this game around when I think 2.0, right? Carlotta was going through her first banner at the time, and then I had enough resources from whatever. So it's almost a year. Kind of just going over a counter review of what a free to play account looks like in this game, and just what's possible and what's going on here. I guess a little bit of background. I first started playing these types of games. I mean, Gotcha in general I've been playing for a long time, but as you can see on my channel, it's been around for a while. But Genshin, I played Genshin when it first came out. Uh, yeah, when it first came out, I was pulling and pulling. Um, I didn't get like Genshin was one of the games that really turned me off to this type of game in general, just because of how poorly, what's the word? Just how badly their gotcha treated you. Like I don't like I played that game maybe like a year on and off, and about as good as this one. And the difference between the account here and the account in Genshin is like night and day. Um, so I lost basically every 50-50 in Genshin, and I never got anybody early. So I got kind of just tired and frustrated of dealing with it. Not to mention that the game, like Genshin itself, the gameplay isn't something that I really care much about. So you guys, as you guys know, I'm more like a kind of skill oriented and all that kind of stuff. And Genshin's combat is not terrible. It's just not very like it's not very deep. It's just a game to do like the combat's just there to have something to do in between whatever, but it's not really super just interesting, right? There's not parrying. There's nothing. Not a whole lot of mechanics. It's just dodge and hit. Some characters like Hu Tao, when you're doing her dash attacks or whatever, like you have to minimize, how fast you can do that, so you can just kind of go a lot faster. But it's more strategy. It's more like team building, what kind of sets you're running, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, the point being is that I played that game around the time Zhao came out, the first running of Zhao. I pulled for him. I dumped all my stuff into him, and I didn't get him. On the way to Zhao, I think from the starting banner, I got Jean or Kaching. I think I got Jean, and then I got Kaching when I lost the 50-50 to Zhao. And then that surprise banner with Hu Tao came out, so I just pulled Hu Tao right after. Um, like I said, I missed the 50-50 on Zhao, and then I got Hu Tao. I can't tell you what happened. I think I lost the 50-50 when Zhang Li came out, and then I just kind of like stopped caring. So I left the game for a while, and then I came back when Inazuma was happening, and then I played the game for a while there. I forgot what happened then, but I won the 50-50 with Raiden, so I got Raiden. And after that, I got Yellen or whatever. And then I just kept playing until Nahida was released. I didn't have enough to pull from Nahida. I think before Nahida came out, they were doing a rerun for Zhang Li. I think that's what happened. Anyway, so this is mainly just to give you a time frame of where I was and what games happened when. But it was around that time that I stopped playing Genshin because I went for Zhang Li again, and I lost the 50-50 again. And I was just kind of tired. I was like, yeah, whatever. And Genshin is so stingy with all their what are they called? The polychromes. No, I don't know what they're called in that game. I already forgot. The primo gems. They're like super stingy with all their primo gems. It just takes forever. But there's another issue, and this video is going to be a little more negative, and it's not to say that Wuwa is bad or it's not this isn't to critique Wuwa. It's me just saying these are the reasons why I'm shifting away from making Wuwa content. Not that I not that I one of the other things is I don't make that much Wuwa content as it is because all the resets in this game take forever. Apparently we have this which resets every so often, but I don't know if I'll make video content on this. We'll see. But this takes like 2 weeks. I think it's like 15. I think it might be 21 days. I don't remember. It takes like forever, right? This is every week, but this is like no, I'm not gonna do content on that. Where is it? Why? It's not here. I don't know why it's such a pain. I'm gonna go over units and all that stuff and just kind of show off, like again, what a free to play account looks like after about 6 months of grinding. Um, okay, here we are. This takes 20 days. I'm pretty sure this takes like a month. I think it takes like 30 days or whatever, maybe 25. The point being is everything here takes forever to reset. When you're playing Zenless, it's like every week something else is reset, something new is reset that you can go do, right? So it's kind of one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of this content anyway. But you're gonna probably see less until I eventually stop playing this game. Right now, the main thing I'm holding on to is I'm just hanging on to this game to see what the Cyberpunk collab is gonna be. Pull for that and see how that goes, and then after that I'll probably stop playing just because there's not gonna be a whole lot that's keeping me in this game. But like I said, before I get into like the negatives and all that stuff again, it's not necessarily to critique Wuwa. It's not from a place of like, oh, Wuwa sucks, we should let it die. No, nothing like that. I've enjoyed the game. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the game too. I enjoyed it so much that right, the only thing I've bought in this game, I haven't bought any summons or anything. I've only bought where is it? This pack here, so I could buy these outfits. These are the only two. These are the only things I bought. And like I said, I bought these specifically because I wanted to give Kuro money and be like, "You guys are doing a good job. This is what it's. I like. You want to support the things that you're doing, right?" So, and I've said this before, hundred times. It's like people buy Call of Duty $60 every year, and then Call of Duty treats you like crap. Everything is nickel and dimed you. You don't. Nobody enjoys playing Call of Duty. They play just because their friends are playing it. They all just play just for the sake of playing it. So there's games like that, like 2K, right? I don't play 2K, but you know what I mean? Like, there's games like that where people pay, it's like $60 a year to get the same recycled garbage every time from a developer who doesn't care about you, who just treats you like crap. There's nothing wrong with paying a little bit of money to support something you like. So, like I said, I'm not encouraging people to pay because it's a very dangerous game to be paying for gotcha games because gambling addiction, all that kind of stuff can really affect a person. But I'm just saying, if you feel like you want to and you have control over how you spend, it's nice to be able to support something like this because it's like, again, if you play Call of Duty, you have to pay the entry fee, and then you're for like 3 to 6 months you're playing this game that you hate, but because you paid for it. Here, they were nice enough to let you play the game, see all the updates and everything, and not charge you. And now the decision is up to you. It's like, oh, thank you for making this game. I'm going to pay a little bit of money. So anyway, the point being is it's just a explanation of that. So again, this is free to play account. No money has been spent on polls or anything like that. So it's just to show off kind of what a free to play account can do. But going back to the kind of the history, I played this game when it launched. I played it for I don't know how many months after. I think a little bit after Jin Shi came out, I stopped playing just because I stopped. Life happened and other stuff, so just wasn't as interested in playing the game anymore. The first unit I pulled was Yinlin, obviously. I had so many resources from the opening thing that I pulled Yinlin, I pulled her weapon, and then I pulled a second copy of Yinlin, which was a stupid mistake because that second resonance is a resonance chain or whatever is not worth it. But yeah, so then after that I stopped playing for a while until more time went on, and then I came back again, like I mentioned, when Rindacita came out, when Carlotta was being released, and then I pulled for Carlotta, and there we go. After a little bit after that, everything has been documented on this channel, so you guys can see how the account has progressed. So yeah, I'm just gonna go over real quick some of the units, and I'll probably talk about some of the complaints I have or some of the things that kind of push me off of this game and why I like Zenless better and why you're gonna see more content for Zenless, and you'll probably see other games too. But anyway, that last video that I made with the Wuwa tier list or whatever kind of exploded in views. I didn't get a lot of subscribers, but again, part of this video is just to let those of you know who are new subscribers and older subscribers. If you're here for the Wuwa content, just giving you guys a heads up that it's not going to be as much. So if you feel like leaving, that's on you. But yeah, so this is Calcharo. I've had him. He was the first like 5-star DPS that I pulled. And I'm just gonna let you know right now, he's been trash since the day he came out. there's a lot of Calcharo mains, people who like him. Let's see. There's a lot of Calcharo mains, people who like him, but he's always been trash. Like, you've been running against the grain to use Calcharo. He just needlessly makes everything more challenging, which is one of the reasons I pulled Yinlin, was to make that easier, and Yinlin helped him a lot at the beginning of the game anyway. But then they gave us Zhang Liao, and it's just like, okay, well, there's never a reason to touch Calcharo unless you're like some kind of hardcore player who's like, I'm gonna Calcharo run the entire game, which I'm not that kind of guy. But I do like using Calcharo. I bring him out in the TOA every so often whenever there's like electric weaknesses, but ever since I pulled Augusta, she's kind of my main electro DPS, so Calcharo is just here as a backup and just here for fun whenever I feel like using him, but he doesn't really do anything no other unit can do. So yeah, I'm running him on this weapon whenever I do run him because it balances out his crit stats. His weapon kind of sucks. It takes too long to use. For one, it doesn't have any crit stats, which that kind of sucks. Two, energy regen isn't useful on him because even running this with no energy regen, his ult is always up when I need it. Yeah. Plus, this makes his rotation shorter. With this, every time you swap into him, so once you do your stuff with Yinlin and you swap into him using the outro skill, you have to skill 3 times to get the 21% liberation damage bonus. You have to skill 3 times, and then ult. That's a lot of time wasted from Yinlin's outro skill buff. What this lets you do is before you do any rotation, you start off with Calcharo. He does his 3 resonance skills to stack up his little meter down there. Then you echo skill and then swap into Shorekeeper, whoever, Verena, whoever's your. You go through the rotation. You go through Yinlin. Yinlin does her outro skill into Calcharo. Then as Calcharo, you just hold basic attack, do his death messenger, his heavy attack or whatever. That gives him bonuses to his ult. This sword, whenever you cast intro skill, gives you an 8% liberation damage bonus, which, okay, it's worse than a 21% that the other sword gives you, but it's 8%. Plus, you're getting a huge amount of crit rate and decent attack. So the stats, and plus you get 12% attack. So the stats are just better. But it just shortens your rotation because you come in, you heavy attack, and then you just ult right after. And now all the bonuses that you can get are applied, and you're not wasting Yinlin's buff, right? So just makes it easier, makes his rotations easier. Ideally, the best weapon to get for him right now is going to be this weapon plus running him with Lene. But I don't like if I put him on a team with it doesn't let me change the team. If I put him on a team with Lene, it makes Yinlin kind of useless. So I just to keep Yinlin useful, I kind of keep them together. So that's that. That's his thing. These are his echoes. I haven't farmed as much as I should, just because I don't use them as much. So I'd rather spend that stamina and the echo level up, echo XP, whatever, on other units. But it's not terrible. It's not great, but it could be worse. And this is enough to clear the lower levels of TOA. Not the last 4 floors, the middle tower, just the side towers. This is enough to clear that. All his skills are maxed out and Resonance Chain. I've only pulled one extra Calcharo, and that's this one. And this one kind of sucks because, well, this one basically patches up his energy. So you don't need energy regen because of this. It just gives him free 10 energy every time he does whatever. So every time you swap back into him, his ult is basically up every time. This one's like the first time you see some damage off of him, but it's not really useful. Resonance skill damage, the only thing he does is the 3 resonance skill attacks that he has, and then they don't even do that much damage. So 30%, like 30 times 0, 30% more of 0 is still kind of 0, so whatever. This is the first time you start seeing some damage off of him because his entire ult state gets 25% electro damage, which is pretty good. So yeah, that's him. Yinlin here. I pulled her weapon. Like I said, this weapon is probably the best in slot for most units. Not the best in slot, but it's like so close that it's like there's no reason to pull all the units. Like if you want to run Jizya, you can use this weapon. If you want to run Cancerella, you can use this weapon. Like it's basically almost every whatever weapon. Resin. No, it's not a resonant. I forgot what it's called. I forgot what these are called. I had the name. Oh well, whatever. Anybody who needs to use one of these catalysts or whatever, you can use this. These are her stats. I'm running her on this. A lot of this gear is taken. These 3 are specific to her, but these 2 are kind of weaker because the better ones are on Mortefi because he's the one I use more because I don't use her as often. Again, all her skills except for intro because it's whatever. This was kind of a waste. 70% damage on her resonance skill sucks because it doesn't do a lot of damage anyway. You know what I mean? So again, this is the same problem of like 70 more of 0 is still 0. Like it's not useful. This helps shorten her rotations so that like her little bar down there is full faster and her concerto energy is full faster. So, or her ult energy is full faster. Sorry, her resonance energy. This is the first time you actually start seeing some damage, and this is what my intention was like, I'll pull for her, and then I'll get this Mindscape, so next time she comes back, I'll get these 2. But how naive I was, considering the power level of the game has kind of outscaled her by a huge margin. So yeah. Not to mention, one of her biggest problems is that in Whimpering Wastes, when you wipe out a wave, like her coordinated attacks need the enemies to be marked with her special mark. In Whimpering Waste, once you wipe out a wave, The next wave comes in without that mark, so then you have to either swap into her, get all her stuff reapplied, which is a waste of time. So yeah, it's not really worth it. It's just not good. Like I said, her weapon was a great investment. She was not. She was good at the time. I don't mind having pulled her. I don't regret pulling her because she helped me get through the content at the time. It's just now she's really not worth it. So just keep that in mind for anybody who's interested. Shorekeeper, probably one of my more prouder moments in terms of like as a free to play, the ability to save. Um, when Renacita came out, they dropped Carlotta, and then Carlotta, I forgot who came after her. I think Chang Li. But anyway, I didn't really care about Chang Li at the time. I don't remember. Anyway, the point being that there was this was I think this was around the anniversary that was coming, and they released her they redropped Shorekeeper, and I was like, okay, we know Shorekeeper's coming for the anniversary. I'm just gonna save, and I think the video is actually on my account of me summoning for her. It might be, I don't remember. But yeah, basically I saved all my astrites, everything. I saved 250 pulls worth of astrites, and the free summons they give you, like the free little yellow balls or whatever. So altogether it was like 250. So I went into her banner, and I got basically I wanted to make sure that I had enough to get her to S2. And I got lucky because to get her to S2, assuming you fail every 50-50, is more than like it's 80 to pull the unit, but it's 80 to get a 5-star, right? To get a 5-star. So assuming I get a Shorekeeper each one, I don't lose any 50-50s. It takes 240 summons to get 3 copies of her, which is what you need. I got lucky. I didn't miss any 50-50s, and all of them were her. And I got like 1 or 2 of her copies earlier than I should have. So yeah, fortunately, I got her with 250. I kept the variation on her. I didn't summon for her weapon because it's not really worth it. Weapon gives her 14% attack to the whole team, which is like, who cares? Especially because, again, if you have her second Mindscape, it gives 40%. So that 14% really it doesn't help out very much. Um, so yeah, again, one of the reasons was I didn't have to pull for her weapon was variation does just as good, if not better. And I still, after about a year, almost a year of playing this game, I still don't have a rank 5 variation. It's just how stingy this game is. It pisses me off. It just will not give me variation. Then every time a banner comes that has variation on there, I'm either not pulling for the weapon or I pull the weapon so fast I don't get any variations out of that banner. So it is what it is. Um, these are her stats. Her sets are I did not grind for any of these very much, as you can see here. This one I got kind of lucky. But basically, you just want like I put crit damage here. You can put health regen here, to healing bonus here to help patch up her healing or whatever. But I just prefer the damage she gets from her intro skill because her intro, when her stellar realm is up, does like this big old nuke and it forces crit damage. So it makes a forced crit. So just having that extra crit damage is like, okay, it helps that out. And I don't need the extra healing. It's not that big a deal. Energy regen, you need this to maximize her stats. So I just get 2 and slap them on there, and then 2 HP, and there you go. That's her whole build. With her, all you have to do is chase main stats. So again, you either put healing here or crit damage or HP if you want. And then the substats don't matter. Just toss it on there, and she's good to go. Obviously, you will need some energy regen here and there in the substats, but it's really not that big a deal. What else? So yeah, like I said, her S2. The S1 is just an awesome quality of life. Like the way a lot of enemies move is they get out of the like this is her expanded circle that I use. I never used her with a regular circle. I've only used her expanded circle. But I can't imagine how irritating it is to use her with a smaller circle, considering even with it when it's bigger size now, enemies just keep like getting out of the circle. So it's just a good quality of life. Again, this is as far as you really want to go is 40% attack. I wouldn't care about this. It gives her 20% concerto energy, but she doesn't really have concerto problems, so eh. More healing, which is like, who cares? Uh, the thing with Shorekeeper as a healer and most healers in this game is they're kind of useless, because if you're playing challenging content, it's more important to get your rotations faster and get your DPS out faster. If you ever need healing, the game doesn't have a balance where it's like, okay, healing is good, right? Either you pass the whole thing without needing healing at all anyway, or you just get one shot. There's really no middle ground where it's like, oh, look, the healer is going to be useful here. TOA kind of has that, but that's its own thing. But anyway, so the healing damage isn't really that good. This makes her basic attack 3 do more vacuuming, which who cares? And this makes it so that she does a bunch of crit damage when she hits people or whatever. It's like, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to S6 for that. So the reason, again, that's the kind of the main reason I pulled for her, because like once I got her to S2, I would never have to pull for another Shorekeeper again. So that's kind of why I wanted her. Recently, I just pulled Lene. I didn't really want her. I was going to skip her, but I was just like, whatever. I'll just pull for her and see what happens. I ended up getting her. The video is not on the account because I was just pulling, like, I would just drop a 10 pull here, drop a 10 pull there, and eventually I just got her. I didn't go all the way to pity on this one. I wasn't intending to. So this is what I run on her. I use her in the support stance or whatever, as you can see here. Her main DPS stance is if you do like this, but I don't use her like that, so... yeah, she's not bad. I don't regret pulling her per se, but I'm not like super thrilled about her. I don't like her rotations, but this is something I'll get into in a bit. Well, I guess I should get into this now. Her as well as let's get up Calcharo. Her as well as Chisa have this annoying thing where the rotations are kind of lame. Like there's no like room for quick swapping. There's no room for shortening them. Her rotation is that she comes in, you swap into her. You either EX special or you ult first. It doesn't really matter which one you do, but you could do one or the other. You EX special, you ult. Then you do enough EX specials for her little I keep forgetting what that bar down there is called. Her little, passive bar. It gets full. Once that gets full, you hold the basic attack until it winds all the way down, and then you do 3 jumping attacks, and then you do a resonance skill in the air. I might have to go find some enemies to show this off. Anyway, so you do that, and then after that, you outro your skill, and that's it. Like, that's her entire rotation. That's the only way you can do it every time. There's no difference. There's no, like, oh, you kind of want to do it like this or do it like that. It's always the same every single time. There's no, like, variation in how you play her. It's just do this every time. Now, if you play her as a main DPS, maybe, but I don't really care about using her that way. It's just that like I said, every time you just kind of go in. So I'm going to show off here what. So once you get this bar, so you ult, you do this, 1, 2, 3, do this, echo skill, and then you swap off her, and that's it. That's her, like, her whole rotation. And you do this every single time. There's no way to make it faster. There's no way to, like, animation cancel. There's nothing there for that kit. Let's go back to Chisa here. Chisa has the same issue, and it started with Chisa, where she has the same problem where she has one rotation and that's it. You swap into her, you echo skill, you resonance skill, you ult if you have ult, which you don't always need, and then you just keep basic attacking until her meter fills up, and then she does her little chainsaw thing, and by the time that chainsaw thing is done, you can swap off of her and that's it. So that's in rotation every single time. Again, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, to me, the design kits of the new characters are kind of boring. We'll see how Mornier works and how later characters you work. Again, it's just Chisa and Lene so far, but yeah, the rotations are kind of boring to me. They don't really do a whole lot. It's just the good thing about Chisa is that, fortunately, her kit is so good that I'm willing to put up with it. And the fact that I'm running her with Frolova makes her kit more interesting. So makes both of their kits, like, their kits carry how bad or how boring Chisa's kit is. Because again, Chisa's kit is good. It's just kind of boring. So Lene is the same thing. I'm running this on her because it gives out energy regen, which again she needs for her ult, and then 10% attack to whoever you swap into, which in my case is either Calcharo or it's Augusta right now. It's not too far off. I mean, let's be honest, it is a whole ways off of her own weapon. Her own weapon gives her a bunch of crit rate. I think it gives her more, right? 20, the same crit rate. I think maybe the same attack too. This gives her attack percentage instead of energy regen. And then down here, let's see. Each time wielder inflicts shift tune, whatever. All damage dealt by resonators in the team is increased by 8%, stacking up to 3 times. So you get 24%. So that's kind of the difference. Is this one gives you 24%. It also, this basic attack damage bonus applies to all her stuff. So she does more personal damage, but the team also does a whole bunch of extra damage because of this. So this is probably 2. It's like running 2 of the weapon she has on right now, but this one's good enough that I don't really care. I'm not gonna go summon for her weapon. I really can't be asked. Yeah, so that's her. She's the newest character I have, so her stats are kind of like the least impressive. You can see here. This was supposed to be crit damage or crit chance, but as you can see, it's marked for deletion. Um, I went in, and you can do this thing here where you modify it. Sometimes you press it, and it doesn't swap over, and I thought it swapped over, and then I went to go upgrade it, and you can see here I was like, oh my gosh, these substats are amazing, and then I forgot that I didn't like confirm it all the way, so it's still attack percentage. So kind of pissed about that, but whatever, not that big a deal. I'll find another piece. It's just at the time I didn't have any echo skill, so once I got that piece, that was like the last one. So I have to save up all the echo skill whatever's. Yeah, she's fine. Like I said, not the worst, not amazing. One of my favorite units is actually Augusta, though. Just all her quick swaps and everything that she does are really interesting. I might make a video going over Augusta Frolova as a team. Linnea's just here just for the sake of being here, but this team actually does kind of need a healer. It's annoying. You kind of need a healer for lots of stuff because it's kind of just annoying getting chip damage all the way to death. And that's kind of what happens when you don't have a healer. You just, after a while, you have to go to a fountain to go heal just because you've been getting a lot of chip damage. But yeah, just she has a lot of skill cancels. So you're doing, while she's doing that, you can come in here and do this, right? So she does this. Let's come over here. So while she does this, you can swap over, and that attack still goes, right? You see that entire attack there. So you're using that. You come in here. She does this, then you swap over to Frolova, and she does her thing while she's still falling, right? So these two together have so many quick swap cancels that I just like. They're my favorite like pairing. Frolova's not totally useless either. She gives out havoc as well as heavy attack damage. So when she outro skills, and her outro skill will always be ready, because her outro skill only happens when her ult is ready. So when she ults, that's when her outro skill is ready, and you swap over to Frolova. Now Frolova can do Augusta. Now she can do everything with the heavy attack damage bonus. So that's good to keep in mind. Not to mention, like I said, she just works good with anybody. Mortifee, it's one of my favorite units too. So running her with Mortifee is also really good. But yeah, we'll go over him in a bit. Where's Augusta? Here she is. I pulled for her weapon. I got her weapon. It's really good. Defense, shred, plus heavy attack, damage bonus attack, and everything. So not bad. These are her stats. You kind of want a little more crit chance on her, just because when or if you get her whatevers, this one here gives you 1% of crit rate. Every 100%, every crit rate you have over 100%, you get 2 crit damage. So once you have, to maximize this buff here, you have to hit 150% crit rate. Now you might say that's kind of hard to get, but for one, when you get this, it gives her a bunch of crit rate plus this here, 20% per each stack of Crown of Wills. You combine that with Shorekeeper, and she can easily hit the 250 mark. So that's kind of the main goal with her, is to get that M2. And there's more crit rate I can get out of her substats as well. So this is her gear. The crit rate isn't too bad. A lot of this stuff is decently optimized. I spent a lot of time grinding her out specifically, because again, she's probably my favorite character, one of my favorite characters. My favorite character is probably Cardathea right now, but Augusta's like second, and then Frolova's like in third somewhere. So yeah, that's her. Frolova, I pair her. I'll have to go into the whole team thing, but I pair her with Cardathea for a pretty good reason. I'll have to go into that team if I make a video on it. But these are her stats. Her weapon gives her a lot of crit rate, just a lot of damage in general. For those of you who saw the, I think I made that video pulling on Frolova's weapon. That was because, again, I pulled Frolova the first time, and I was like, okay, I don't really need her weapon. And you still don't need it, but I've liked Frolova so much that I felt like getting her weapon anyway. So these are her substats. Again, her gear is kind of like optimized, not super optimized, but I spent a lot of time trying to get it really good. As you can see, 4 stats on everything. This could use an extra stat. Obviously, it's gonna take forever to get these to get all these to get 5 stats, but whatever. So yeah, she's one of my better built units. I'm not interested in getting any of her resonance chains. The way she is now is fine. Chiso was a unit that I pulled for, again, mainly because there are not a whole lot of units that work well with Cardathea. So the fact that she works good with her because of her dot expansion and all that stuff is really good. On top of the fact that, like, she provides buffs that Cardathea can use The problem with Shorekeeper is this S2. Short Cardathea can't use this. It doesn't mean anything to her. So every time I have a team where Cardathea and Shorekeeper are on the same team, I'm wasting Shorekeeper a little bit. Like someone else could be using her and making better use of that buff than Cardathea is. So I wanted a unit that could buff Cardathea with all their buffs without having any issues. And Chisa does that. So Chisa provides a bunch of defense shred. It provides her dot expansion or whatever, it makes it so you can put more dots on them. And then her weapon also gives out attribute damage bonus to the whole team. So that's why I pulled for Chisa. I just needed a good partner for Cardathea, and I found one. So here we go. All her skills are done. I'm not interested in pulling any of her resonance chains. Her weapon again is this what it's at. So this she does all her damage. I have some pretty good. I found some pretty good ones. Like this was pretty good in terms of how many substats there are, but a lot of these are low rolls, like 12% crit damage, 6% crit rate. You know, it's all very low rolled. So I'm gonna have to replace that eventually. But as you can see, a pretty decent amount of things for her. Let's go find Lupa. Lupa's another one of my favorite units. She's probably like top 5. She just boosts all fire teams and liberation damage as well, I think. But this is pretty good. I don't foresee myself getting in any of her merges. They're not super useful. This is her substats here. Again, I spent quite a bit of time grinding out for her to try to get her to a decent place. Cardathea. I'm currently in the process of dumping all my, like any Astrites I get right now are going into the Cardathea banner because I really want to get her. Eventually, Cardathea is the most expensive unit I want to get. I want to get her to rank 3 here. Because once she gets here, she doesn't need a. Well, she doesn't really need it now, but that's a whole thing I have to discuss on her team. But eventually, that's the goal, is to get her here. These are her skills. Everything's maxed out. This is her weapon. I did not pull for this weapon. I did not pull for 2 of these weapons independently. I did a bunch of 10 pulls on her weapon banner, and I got 2 in 1 10 pull, so that's kind of what it ended up being. Her stats they're not lackluster, but they're like kind of annoying. It's been really a huge pain to find pieces to replace these 2. These are all pretty good. Basic attack, HP, and HP. Not too bad. But yeah, those 2 first ones are like, I just cannot for the life of me find better replacements. Zanny, probably the most disappointing unit I've pulled. She just needs the stacks from the Spectral Fragile too much. Like Cardathea works without them, but she's just a little nerfed. You literally can't use half of Zani's ult without the stacks, so that kind of sucks. Like imagine if they just chopped Cardathea's ult in half and you couldn't, use half of it because you didn't have enough stacks. You can use her without the stacks. She's not going to be as good, but you can still use her, right? Zani is the opposite, where it's like you just cannot use her without Spectral Fragile stacks. Like it's just dumb. I got pulled for her weapon just in case, because the defense shred was nice. So any future gauntlet users are probably going to use this just because it has free defense shred. But whatever. I'm just a sucker. I see a Super Saiyan like unit and I'm going to pull for it. Like I just have to. It's like you just got to do it. I don't know what I'm going to tell you. Her stats are kind of low just because I haven't really cared to grind out for her gear as much. It's just been kind of like whatever comes out, whatever. Carlotta, obviously, like I said, I pulled for her when her banner came out at the first time. Again, the same thing happened with her weapon. I was just doing a bunch of 10 pulls, and suddenly I pulled her weapon. Here's her gear. Her gear, I grinded out for her at the beginning, but as I got more units, I kind of started gravitating to her other ones. So as you can see, they're not terrible. They could be a little better, but I like to think 300 crit damage and 70% crit rate isn't too bad. There's that. Don't have any of her mindscapes. Don't really care. Shorekeeper I've already talked about. Chang Li is another good example. Her with Lupa are some of my favorites. When I pulled on the Chang Li banner, I actually got 2 copies of her. So again, I did a bunch of 10 pulls. It gave me her and a second copy. Because I already had this here, and their second Mindscape was like the best one, or not Mindscape, but Resonance Chain was the best, well, not the best one, there's just better ones down here. This is the one I was like, oh, 25% crit rate really helps patch up a lot of her damage. So I just used 360 of those Rainbow Corals, and I pulled a third copy of her just to get this, so here's what it is. This wouldn't be too bad. This one kind of would be probably ideal. Getting here would make her team damage just explode. Well, not explode, but you know what I mean. Just a lot better. Um, I don't pull for her weapon just because this weapon replaces it really well. I actually have 3 copies of this. I have 2 here and then 1 here. I'm seriously considering just merging this into this to get like more bonuses, but it's not that important. These are her stats. Again, you have to pretend she has 25 extra crit rate, so she's at 80, 90-ish crit rate, 89 or whatever. So not too bad. Her stats are pretty good as well. I did a decent amount of grinding on her just to make sure she's good with Lupa. That's that. Yinlin, Kalcharo. Verena is just kind of, you run her on a variation, but only have 1 copy. Again, her stats are the same. You just build healing bonus here because she doesn't do any damage at all, so just healing bonus, energy regen, and attack. I actually got 1 extra copy of her, which gives you this. This is kind of the one you want because whenever you do her resonance skill, it gives her 1 photosynthesis, which is a little meter down there at the bottom, and then 10 consider energy just to make her rotations like ridiculously fast. She comes in, resonance skills, and then she swaps off. Resonance skills, then ult, then you swap off like immediately. You don't have to do any basic attacks or nothing. I got Booling, new unit. I'm still working on her, trying to get her maxed out. Sanghua, obviously, one of the better units in the game, one of the better 4-stars. I just don't have a lot of reason to use her. Nobody I use uses a lot of basic attacks except for Cardathea, but her team is already kind of set where it is, so I don't really need her. Not to mention, she gives out a lot of attack bonuses, so once you get when you get this gives you attack percentage, and if you're running this set on her, this also gives an attack bonus here. And obviously Cardathea can't use any of those attack bonuses, which is again, it's why I wanted Chisa, because it's hard to get her to do to find a unit that like benefits off of all their stats. Here's Mortefi. One of my favorite 4-stars in the entire game. 80% crit rate with a bunch of crit damage. Mainly just a lot of energy regen, because his most important thing is to activate his ult on most teams. Now, if you're running him with Jian or Augusta, you do need his outro skill because that's where a lot of his buffs come from. Yeah, giving out 10% attack from this, plus another 20% attack from this is 30%. Plus, he also gives out, where is it? 20% attack from this, so that's what, 50% attack for free. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so not to mention, he's also doing a lot of damage because his forte, his liberation, also just launches out those little coordinated attacks, so that's pretty cool too. I don't have all his skills leveled up because you don't use them all. Like his basic attacks, who cares? In his intro, it doesn't really matter. What matters is just his ultimate, his forte, and his resonance because you spam those as much as you can, and then the outro skill, obviously. Maxed out, he's one of the better units again. He just provides so many buffs, it's not even funny. Are basically all the others. I actually leveled him up all the way. He's maxed out. Just because it was kind of fun to use, but he's really not very good, so don't. I wouldn't recommend it. The rest of these units are just here. So yeah, that's kind of the account overview. That's where we are after about half a year worth of playing this game. The year anniversary thing happened a while ago, which again I didn't like. That wasn't where I haven't been playing for a year at that point. I gave up for a while, but like I said, we came back and now this is kind of like almost a year to the date here. So anyway, I was going to talk about some of the negative things as to why. The biggest thing is that this game, along with Genshin, like it's one of the reasons why I wasn't drawn to Genshin, was exploration and the world are very like important and central to the game. Like going out there, interacting with the world, discovering all the treasure chests, all the, you know what I mean? Like let's take a look at the map here. Like the Royal Frostlands. Like a lot of this is you're supposed to go out here and discover all this crap, and it's just like I can't be asked. Like I don't play these games for world exploration. I just don't care personally. To me, it's just a huge waste of time. Again, that's not to say that's a bad mechanic. If this is what you enjoy, then by all means. It's just I'm just letting you guys know personally. Half of this game is the exploration, and me personally, I don't enjoy that half of it. So half of this game I don't enjoy playing, right? So that's one of the reasons that kind of pushes me away. And Genshin was the same way, where it's like a lot of it was exploration, and I just didn't care. I don't care about what the world looks like. I mean, it looks nice and all, but I just can't be asked. And there's nothing there that's very interesting. Like, the only thing you're exploring for is to get more astrites so you can summon more. That's one of the things I like about Zenless a lot is that in that game they don't waste your time exploring. Now they're starting to add it in there, which is starting to piss me off. But for the most part, it's just here's the missions, go do the missions. There's no big open world that's like there for you to explore. They know combat's their focus, so they're doing combat, and that's that, right? Here, like especially when you go to Lahiroi, how do we go back to Lahiroi? One of the things that pisses me off about Lahiroi more than anything else is that you can't fly here anymore. They took away the flying ability to use the stupid motorcycle. I don't care. Great, you took away my ability to fly. Now I have to get everywhere at the speed I used to take walking everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not interesting to me. I don't care. Like to me, that was the cool. That's one of the things that kept me so invested. Was like, oh, I could just fly everywhere, and it saves me so much time. But now I can't fly. They took away my flying. I have to motorcycle everywhere. The motorcycle's boring and slow. Look at this. I could just be flying this whole time. But now the entire world, like, look at all this empty space on the map. All this is just empty. Like, it's all just like, there's nothing here on the way to all these spots. There's a few spots like here and there. Here's this and here's that. You know what I mean? But it's all just empty space just to make the motorcycle, like, have open space to go drive around in, right? So that's, again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine if that's what you're looking for. It's just, again, I'm not looking for that, so that's why it doesn't appeal to me. So that's one of the reasons that kind of pushes me away from this game a little bit is how much you have to go do this stuff. Because you have to go do this stuff to get all your astrites, to get everything, so you can kind of summon and be competitive in that sense, right? Whatever that means in a PvE game that doesn't have any PvP. How do I get off of this motorcycle? I forgot. So there's that. What else is there? I guess again, I already talked about the poor unit design, and we've been talking in the comments of the tier list, the Wuwa tier list, how some of these characters are designed. Like Chikona only boosts her. Like she's the only one who benefits from all her boosts. Like if you go back to Zenless, like when you look at Vivian buffs any anomaly unit. You know what I mean? She's not just like, oh, Vivian's just here for like Miyabi or just here for Jane or whatever. Chikona, that's all she's here for. She's here just for Cardathea. Now, sure, other wind users can use her. Like Gian makes decent use off of her. But like, what is the point of that? Like, you're just using half of Chikona's buffs on Gian, right? And that's kind of what pisses me off about a lot of the character design. That's why I pull for the units I pull for are the units I pull for because I can see their application outside of whatever, right? One of the reasons why I wasn't so pissed off about pulling for Lene was she was useful on a lot of teams. The only buff you're missing is the 24 or 25% liberation damage buff, but it's like, who cares? Just so many other buffs that it doesn't really matter. But yeah, the game is super hyper specific when it comes to their unit design, and it really kind of bothers me, rubs me the wrong way, kind of. So that's one of the reasons why I don't like, whatever. One of the most infuriating things about this game is their echo set design. Every echo set is tuned to one unit. There's no other unit who can use this set. It antagonizes me. When you're playing something like I don't remember how Genshin if Genshin had a lot of like transferable sets. I'm pretty sure it did. Like there were people who could use multiple sets or whatever. There's always a meta build. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's like every game is like innocent on this. There's always a meta build that I'm just gonna run that set on him anyway. But like when you're playing something like Zenless, right? When you're using Puffer Electro or Woodpecker Electro, that's that 2-piece set is 8% crit rate. That's not like only one unit can use crit rate. Every unit can use crit rate, so you can swap that around. Well, not every unit, but you know what I mean. Like the sets are more broadly usable. Okay, here they gave us this 3-piece sets. Okay, only she can use. And then they were like, oh, you can use 2-piece Void Thunder to get electricity, and that's kind of cool. But people got all pissed off about how like all these 3 sets or whatever, and now we're back to using 5 sets again. Which it's like, okay, thanks guys. I don't know. The point is that the 5 sets in this game kind of antagonize me because like no one can use this other than her. No one can use her thing other than her. You know what I mean? Like every time a new unit comes out, it's not like, oh, it's exciting because I get to see maybe I pulled a really good 3 cost that has like, I don't know, HP in the main stat, and let's go see if this one can use it. No, it's like all the whatever this thing is called, flaming claw print things, you just have to throw them away. Once you get the perfect set for Lupa, that's it. She's the only one who can use that set. So that's kind of what pisses me off. Is just like the lack of general sets. Because one of the things with general sets is it lets you optimize builds. In Zenless, right now we're all like scrambling over how to make your Yixing Wang do the most damage, because there's not just one set, right? Obviously, the main set that you run on her is her set, but you can either use Branch and Blade as the two piece, Puffer Electro, Woodpecker Electro. You know, there's all kinds of like optimization. Then within the sets, right, you can either use attack five slot attack. You can use penetration. You can even use attack in the 4 slot under certain conditions. You know what I mean? There's a lot more variation. Here, there's like no variation in builds whatsoever. Everybody, once you get the main build, that's it. Like, you're never gonna run. This is always gonna be crit rate or crit damage. These two are always gonna be elemental. This the 3 costs, and then you're always gonna run an attack on the second ones. Like, the only exception to that is where is she? Where's Cardathea? It's Cardathea, who ended up actually using 44111, right? So now you're only 11 cost over 12. So anyway, like I said, it's just antagonizing that there's no like variety in sets and builds and all that kind of thing. So that's kind of the only thing that frustrates me. What else is there? The gacha here is pretty good. It's been really fair in my experiences, but again, my experiences and everyone else's experience. I think the last thing I'll mention is Wuwa's inability, and this isn't just Wuwa. Most gacha games have this like phobia of doing the players a favor and then just buffing units. You know what I mean? Like, let's take for example Calcharo. One of Calcharo's issues is that it's hard to get most of his damage out of his ult. One, without them being stunned, right? Because he just, everything, like, they just sneeze at him, and it knocks him out of his combo, so now he loses the Death Messenger just because he gets sneezed at. And you can't dodge counter. Like, all his stuff, all the problems that Calcharo faces are fixed in Zhang Liao. But instead of giving them to him, they just made a new character and said, go summon for him. You want to know what one of the most insulting things is? Let's go here. Where is it? In this game mode, if you guys go check this game mode out, where is it? I can't find it. Here it is. In here, there are buffs in here that change a unit's kit. There's a buff in here that makes it so Calcharo, his attack speed increases like a huge amount. It's like 50% or whatever. How come you can't just put that in the game? It's got to be locked behind this set, this game mode or whatever. You know what I mean? So just that whole, like, this is one of the main reasons I stopped playing Warframe. Was the same thing of like Warframe obviously updated a lot for those of you who do play Warframe. Warframe updated their units a lot here and there, but I didn't like their mentality and their approach to it, because they would buff units and it would be like some guy who's never even like played Warframe before just went in there, redid the entire kit, wasted all this time doing nothing, getting paid, and then DE is like, oh, there's nothing we can do about it. It just costs too much development time. I remember when Paul came in, I think that was his name, was Paul. Anyway, there was a guy who came in who started reworking some of the kits. Like, he did the Najah rework, he did the Saren rework. Anyway, the point is that one dude came in who actually cared about the game, started doing the buffs, and they were fantastic. Everybody loved them. But then they were like, oh, well, there's nothing we can do because apparently there's only one person in our entire like company who likes this game enough to play it. So we have to wait for him to do the buffs. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's the same thing with this game where it's just like, does nobody here actually like this game enough to just go in here and be like, hey, why don't we just tweak these values to make this unit better? Nobody can be asked. Everyone just, you know, we're the developers. We know better than you. And we know that you don't want, or, you know, we know that you don't want a Calcharo buff. We know that you don't need a Calcharo buff or whatever. And again, this isn't exclusive to Calcharo. There's just a lot of units that could use a buff, like even a small one. But they just can't be asked. Like now, like Tao Chi's just going to be useless forever. Alto, no one's ever going to use Alto. Jianshin, you know what I mean? Like, no one's ever going to use Yuan Yu. The other thing that also is kind of antagonizing to me is this tune break effect really should have been just tied to the vibration bar, because that wouldn't give a reason to use Yuan Wu, because his entire kit is based off the vibration bar. But like, it doesn't matter whether their vibration broken or not. You know, this game's version of a stun. It doesn't matter because most units have enough invincibility frames that they can just dump all their damage without them being stunned anyway. Kacharo's the only one who loses out because he can't. Like, he needs them to not be moving to get all his damage out. But everyone else doesn't care. No one else cares whether they're stunned or not. So the vibration bar in this game is useless. So a unit like Yuan Yu doesn't do anything. So yeah, like I said, if they're going to introduce this new toon break mechanic, it should have been tied to the vibration bar in some way, and then have them kind of work off of each other. Then, oh, maybe this unit's useful now. Maybe she's useful now. You know what I mean? But no, instead they completely made it. They made a completely new bar, completely made a new unit to go solve that problem that they just invented, and they're about to sell us Mornier and a bunch of other sets of units. So, again, hopefully you guys can see. This isn't to like deter anybody from playing this game. This isn't just to talk crap. It's not to say, you know, Wuwa sucks or whatever. It's just to say that like these are the reasons why I don't like really enjoy playing this game anymore. Because now I log in, I do my dailies, and then I have like this entire list. Like, look at how far behind I am on the quests. Look at all these quests I have to go do. And I don't like doing them just because I don't like being in the world. Like, this entire world map that I have to go do a bunch of asinine tasks. I just don't enjoy doing them. So that's, again, there's a bunch of reasons like that. Again, a lot of this is just specific to me personally. So I'm not saying that the game is bad. Some of these complaints are legitimate complaints, and they're not like... The thing is, Wuwa is doing better for the players than Genshin is. Now, Genshin's obviously making all the money because they're still the top dog or whatever. But Wuwa is treating their players better. The fact that Wuwa is treating their players better means a lot of people end up just being quiet and going, well, this is not as bad as Genshin. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where the problems start, where it's like people just start becoming complacent. Like I said, this isn't a... I obviously enjoy the game. I enjoyed it enough to go buy a pack to buy the outfits or whatever. So clearly I do enjoy this game. It's just that there are things that are grating on me over time, and there are things that like are deterring me from playing this game. So for anybody who, you know, if you're here for Wuwa content specifically, it's probably going to wind down a little bit, and then eventually it's going to stop, probably around whenever the Cyberpunk collab gets like dropped. They said 2026, so it's going to be sometime this year. I hope it's not the end of the year. Hopefully it's sometime, maybe in the summer, maybe in the middle of the year, maybe for the 3-year anniversary, who knows, or the 2-year anniversary, right? Because that's sometime in the middle of summer, I think, in Mayish. I don't remember exactly, but so you know, so I'll probably be around for that. But in general, like I said, these are the grievances, and these are the reasons why I don't play this game. It's why I like Zenless more. Now, those of you who know Kuro Games, you know that I think Kuro makes PGR, and as far as I know, PGR might be closer to Zenless. I don't know anything about PGR. All I know is they had the DMC collab, and I'm like, I want to go play that game to see how they turned out. But like I said, PGR seems like it's more combat focused, and it seems more like they're not going to waste your time with a bunch of like all of this, you know. Not to mention, for those of you guys who may or may not know, I cannot press the skip button fast enough, so I don't know anything about the story. Now, you might look at me and say, "Oh, why are you even playing this game if you don't like the exploration or the story?" To that, all I have to say is, yes, you're right. You're 100% correct. Why am I playing this game if I don't like the story or the exploration? But yeah, like I said, I like the units. I like the gameplay a little bit, but Zenless has really made me kind of realize how not empty, but less optimized this gameplay is. Again, they have that whole toon break mechanic that doesn't do anything, or not the toon break, the vibration mechanic. Arguably, the toon mechanic barely does anything, at least to me. The parry mechanic is kind of annoying because you can't do it on command. Like, there's no button that parries. You just have to throw out an attack to parry the attack when the circle comes in. But not every attack parries. Only certain attacks do. So it's like, if their basic attack 2 parries, I have to know that he's about to hit me with the yellow flash. In this game, we'll just call it a yellow flash, a parryable attack. I know he has to hit me. I have to throw out the basic attack 1, and then time it so that the basic attack 2 parries him. It's just like, what the... Again, that's on top of the fact that, like, if you need to parry, most of the time, you don't even have to parry because everybody's kit is just designed to, like, not interact with the enemies at all, right? It doesn't matter whether you parry. When you're using, like, Jane, or when you're using Jane and Vivian, as an example from Zenless, you need the enemy to attack because Vivian When you parry the yellow flash, Vivian comes in, gets 2 guard feathers, and boosts her passive abilities to keep her to fuel her to keep going. So you kind of need that interaction from the enemy. Here it doesn't matter, nobody cares. Jane in Zenless, she needs to dodge a lot to keep her passion state up to get most of her damage out. There's interaction there with the enemies. Here the enemies are just bullet sponges, and I guess the last thing I can say here. Oh, look at that! You can see, so you guys can see all the units I have, all the 5 stars. These are all the 5 stars I've gotten. I guess as a last thing, in terms of account overview, I've basically gotten every unit I want in this game. There's no units that I like. I'm missing. Like, I don't care about this guy. I guess how I would like Galbrana, but I don't really need her. So like I would just pull her just because she's kind of fun. She reminds me of Bayonetta. But I don't really need her. It's not that big a deal. You know, I could go for but I mean, as you guys can see, clearly there's a lot more going into that. I cannot be asked to care about Chacona. Cantarella wouldn't be too bad if it was like she wasn't just such a weird just I don't know. She's just such a hoe. I don't know. I can't get around that. I don't like Brant. I don't like Phoebe. I talked about this in the tier list. Rochia's terrible. Can't be asked about Camellia. Don't care. Zhang Li pisses me off because he's just Calcharo but better. Jijia, she's nice, but she's kind of boring. She just doesn't she doesn't do anything on field. I like the quick swap in this game. Even though Mortefi is one of my favorite characters and he doesn't have any quick swap, he's just off field attacks, which is what Jijia is. But it's nice that he's a 4-star and I don't have to pull a 5-star to not play her, right? Because her gameplay style is like, don't play her because her off field attacks are what's important. So that's important. That's kind of interesting for me to whatever. I don't really like Jinshi either, and I don't like Jian. So all the units I wanted, I basically have. I would probably trade Zanny for I don't really know. Maybe Galbrena. Yeah, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I trade Zanny for anybody, especially because I do still need a light damage dealer. It's just that Zanny kind of sucks. But yeah. So anyway, it's just to show that I've gotten all the units I've wanted, the ones I've really wanted. There's some that I kind of want, and I could go with or without, and I went without. So there it is. But anyway, yeah, like I said, I was just kind of ranting about issues with the game and where the game is at. I forgot what the point I was making before I ran over there to go check out the units. But yeah, like I said, the unit design in this game when you're interacting with enemies isn't really super great. They're just bullets. Oh, that's what I was gonna talk about. Let's go here. What is a simulation challenge? Is this it? No, it's down here somewhere. Tactical holograms. So I got this one. This one's finished. These are almost. I finished all these early ones, so the ones in the middle are right here. I'm missing 3, 5. So I might probably when I finish these out, yeah, whatever. But one of the reasons I don't showcase these, because I'd probably show these how to fight them. One of the reasons I don't showcase these is because they're so unbelievably boring. Their kits are not fun to fight against, and the only mechanic in all of these fights is dodge. You cannot get touched by any of these, any of these that you win, like this right here, this one, all these, they're just no hit runs. And I find that unbelievably boring. It's just not fun to play against these bosses. So again, if you find it fun, don't let me deter you. Just for me personally, I don't find one-shot bullet sponges to be fun, right? And that's what these are. They're just no interesting mechanics. There's nothing I have to engage with them. It's just don't get hit, memorize. I don't like memorization. And one of the problems with these is you have to memorize their move sets and just dodge every single one of them. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I find these not very fun. This is one of the end game challenges, and I just don't find it fun. So keep that in mind. But I guess that's it. That's the kind of the last few things. Is I guess the one thing we've all been complaining about is the lack of echo skill. The only way to get this is by grinding this out, grinding these tacit fields, and you stock up on echoes so much that it's just dumb. I have so much of this stuff, it's not even funny. I have 4,000. I recently ran out, and I only just now got my stock up to 155. And if you've been playing this game, you know that 150 is nothing when you're talking about echo, the echo skill, whatever. So that's kind of the other thing. The frustrating thing is that I have to waste my time grinding out, filling up my inventory full of useless echoes just to get this. Like, there's no way to get this itself. Which again, going back to Zenless, there's a mode you can grind out where you can just get XP if that's what you need. So anyway, this is a long ranty video, but it's just again, I'm gonna close out with this. And even though I'm gonna close out with this, someone's probably gonna complain about me complaining. But I'm just gonna close out and say these are not reasons to hate the game, and I certainly don't hate the game. I do still like the game, and I wish there was more reason to play it. It's just me personally. There's other games I'd rather invest time into than to keep playing this game now that I'm kind of like, I understand what the game wants to do and where the game is going, right? Because like I said, like I've known it's been about exploration, but I've been kind of able to gaslight myself for a while just to be like, well, I'm just here for the combat. But the more and more exploration stuff they put in here, and the more like world whatever, like they constantly just want to show off how great they are making this world. It's just like, I don't care. I don't care about your story. I don't care about your world. I don't care about all this stuff. I'm here for mechanical gameplay. So, if I'm only into that, then may as well go play PGR, right? Because I do still love Zenless because that one doesn't shove down a lot of exploration in my throat. They are starting to. Don't get me wrong. They are starting to, but they're still limited in what they're doing. So, yeah, if you're here for woo-wah content, just know it's going to be less and less over time until eventually it's not going to be anything. So, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. It might be a Zenless video or something. I'm not entirely sure yet, but yeah, that's it for today.